Okay, we've started recording. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. So today we're dealing with part 2 of the design, develop, and execute our presentations. And just like last week, there is a lot of emotional activities that I want us to really master before we present, or before we design, or before we speak. And today I'm going to be focusing a bit more on some of the emotional intelligence tools that we can use to brand our presentations, which in turn will affect our services, our products, our businesses. Remember, emotive branding focuses on persuading. It focuses on persuading your decision-making audience. If you remember what I said last week, I said at the center of every good storytelling is the act of persuasion. You tell stories to persuade people. You make faces, you talk about things. It's all in an act of persuasion. On Saturday, we had a lot of fun at the Emotive Branding Masterclass, and one of the case studies we used was Noye, and we spoke about how Royal Oats, and not just the roads, but we spoke about her. And the reason why we made Noye herself part of the presentation was because we wanted the people that were looking to be persuaded that, number one, this was genuinely made by someone who had felt the pain of having excess weight. So for that reason, we started off Noye's story with a picture of her when she was much bigger than she is now, so that emotively people could connect with her. So people could feel emotional, people could understand her pain. That was the purpose of the pictures and of her standing there, and then also the quality of her goods. All these things were very, very subliminal, emotive things to make sure people were going to decide to buy from Noye from their crocodile brain. We want it. We want people sometimes not to think about the best price or about things that are in their local supermarkets or things that have been made for hundreds of years. We want them to discard those things and to operate in their crocodile brains and think, we like her story, we like her struggle, we like her product, therefore we're buying from her. That's the other side of using the crocodile brain. So on one hand, it can be something that if you're addressing people from your neocortex, it's not a good idea to do with them. But if you're addressing people emotion to emotion, it's the best place to stay. So justification of a decision is always logical and rational. So people say, I want to buy oats. Well, there's a Tesco's 5 minutes away, or there's a shop that's 25 minutes away that stores Royal Oats. Justification and common sense says, why go 20 minutes away when you can go 5 minutes down the road to buy it from your local shop? But when you make decisions, they are emotional. They're from the crocodile brain. We can turn around and say, well, I know there's a shop 5 minutes away, but I like the woman that has the products 20 minutes away. I like it. I like her story. I am prepared to drive another 15 minutes. I'll go there. I don't mind. People do these things all the time. But we, as business owners, have to learn how we can make our audience do exactly the same thing for us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Every time there's a pitch, we make a pitch, there's a fundamental disconnect between the way we pitch our positions or our brands. And this disconnect between our pitch and what people think is the reason why we experience shortfalls in our revenue, shortfalls in our sales, shortfalls in our sales forecasts, and shortfalls in how we're able to convert our clients. I remember very clearly the first presentation we did with Nina. When she exited the presentation, I had no idea that she went onto Facebook and she wrote a really long story on Facebook about herself, about how she felt in the presentation and what she was going to do. And that, what you put on Facebook, I copied it, and it was one of the most popular newsletters I sent out. Everybody that read it liked it. They were talking about that lady that wrote that thing. That's incredible. And the reason why that happened was because they all connected with Nina emotionally. They didn't know who she was, didn't understand what she was talking about, but they read her story and immediately they felt the emotional connection of a woman who had made some bad choices in life, but at the present moment was determined to make great choices. Noye, to be a bit more specific, you weren't there, but Nina shared with us that she had 5 children and that she had 5 different fathers of those children. But despite that, she was ready to stand and make her 5th relationship work for her so well. And everyone that read that story was asking me who this woman was. Everybody.
Yeah.
It was such an emotional story that you refused to fall down, you refused to hide away, you spoke up for yourself, because you know what, life goes on, and you are 100% right. If you can connect with people emotionally, if you can tell your story with the right brand, you will find that your audience will connect with you, and the way you've told your story will persuade them to actually take action that you want them to, which could be buying your book, buying your services, coming to your conferences, and you find out that your story is the hook that is so true that people are buying into you. And that's your business model right there.
Wow, brilliant.
Yeah? So I'm going to read something that I prepared, and what I'm going to read is my positioning, and I want you to listen to it because I'm going to send it to you as well, and I want you to actually think of how you're going to position yourselves in the same thing. So someone like Steve will probably know the way I've written it. You probably understand because I've trained on this in the past, but perhaps Noye, Nina, you've not seen this before, but this is how I tend to write things to make sure that we captivate the audience. But not to worry, if you've not seen it before, I can still send you some past examples. So I'm going to read this now. This is me in front of an audience. There's a fundamental disconnect between the way we pitch, position, or brand. This disconnect is the reason why many experience shortfalls in revenue, sales forecasts, and audience to client conversions. My name is Samuni Banjo, and I'm very good at making sure my events and my training sessions sell out. I know many people do this, but if you ever want to know some of the real secrets that I use, then you want to listen to me now. Full stop. That is my opening presentation. What I've done is I've actually introduced myself in the middle of it, so I've not made myself the subject. The subject here is your business. It's the disconnect and the pain you feel between your business and the money that you want to receive and why things are going wrong. Then I've introduced myself. Then I've said I have a secret formula I use, and then I've said you can follow it. So let me use Noye because she has a raw oats as an example. If I was going to say exactly the same thing, I would say there's a fundamental disconnect between the way people in the fast-moving consumer goods industry pitch their oats, they pitch their food, they pitch their healthy stuff. This disconnection is the reason why some of you never seem to sell more than 100,000, 150,000 pounds of goods every year. This is the reason why, despite you go to trade shows and you hear other people selling tens of millions, you don't seem to pass the 100,000 or the 6-figure mark. My name is Noye Soludo, and I've been creating Royal Oats for the last 6 months. In this time, I've been able to sell in 7 figures in Africa, and I've been able to sell in 7 figures in Europe as well. If you ever wanted to know why and how Royal Oats is the #1 oats in the country, you need to listen to me and follow me now. That is if Noye was given a presentation to a group of people in the food and beverage sector. It's about positioning yourself. Now, the other reason why I've said it this way, and I've put my name or your name should be in the middle, is because when you enter a room of people and the people do not know you, automatically they never give you the respect you believe you deserve. Not because they're bad people, but that's the way life is. When you enter a room of people, people will never give you the respect you believe you deserve. What has to happen is that you have to earn that respect. And if you're a speaker in a room, or if you're networking in the room, you have to have a power conversation. If you cannot say you are the CEO, if you cannot say you're the best, if you cannot say you're a master of your industry, people will not give you the respect that you believe you deserve. Do you understand this? You have.
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you is that you have to push for the respect. If you do not push for the respect, it won't happen. People will never give you. You have to take it. If you've read my book, 37 Business Thoughts, at the beginning of the book, I wrote, right at the beginning, I'm sure everyone has a copy of this book. At the beginning of it, in my forewords, I wrote there, I wrote somewhere there. Okay, I wrote at the top of it, success is never a mistake and a victory is rarely given, but it's always taken. You can see that. If you've got the book, just look at the first few pages, the intro. It talks about success. People rarely ever give it to you, but you have to demand it. So as a person delivering a presentation in business, do not assume that people should be quiet and they should pay attention and they should listen to you. People don't do that. They don't do that. So when you go into that room and people are on their phones, on their iPads, do not get flustered. One of the first things I taught at the beginning of this session, which was a few months ago, Noya, I'm going to send you those notes, was about, and Ogie, I have to send you as well, was about you being the captain of your own ship and any other captain being a fraud. What it really means is that when you have a room full of people and they're on their phones or they're talking to their friends, don't feel distracted. Don't feel as if you're losing control. What you have to do is you have to prove your social worth by you delivering power words, by you having a fantastic presentation. Because the moment your presentation sounds exciting, people will stop their conversations, people will stop being on their phones, people will stop being on their laptop, because what you're saying is of value. Does everyone follow what I'm saying? Yeah. So what I'm saying here is that it's not just how nice what you're saying is, it's about how much control you are emanating. You have to emanate control, and that's your responsibility. So you know your stuff, you know your accounting, you know about health and fitness, you know about your Royal Oats. That's one thing. That's what you know. People need you to take a position of leadership when you're speaking to them as a group, or you're speaking to them on one-to-ones, or you're speaking to them in a room. You have to have a position of authority. It's compulsory. If you are not in control, your presentation is going to be a waste. People have to believe that you know your stuff. If they don't believe it, they don't listen to you, it won't work. Okay? Now let's move on swiftly. In the first few minutes of a presentation, people can actually be afraid of you or like you or your products within the first few minutes, even without actually listening to your full presentation. And that's because, once again, people are emotional. People can look at you and think, I like the way you look. And that's the reason why when we talk about presentations, your dressing really matters. It really, really, really matters. The way you look, the way your hair is, it really, really matters. Your presentation, what's on the front page of it, really matters. Your shoes, if they're shining, it really matters. And please, never, ever, ever, ever come for a presentation late. No matter what happens, don't come late. Don't. Please never get to your presentations late. It makes people not respect you. If you don't respect your own time that you've given for a presentation, why should anybody else respect you? If you're going to start at 9:30 and you're getting there at 9:40, why should anyone else get there on time? When you're doing a presentation, never, ever, ever get there late. Always be early. Always be early. Always be dressed. Always be ready, because people make up their minds about your products even before you start a presentation. On Saturday at the masterclass, there was a young man with us. And before we started, I had a conversation with him. I said, what are your next goals? He said, well, he just graduated from university and he wants to get a job. I said, how would you go about a job interview? And he explained to me. And I said to him, I said, son, listen. I said, has it ever occurred to you that the moment you fill in an application form, your interview has started? The moment you send a reply by email, your interview has started. The moment you walk into a building, your interview has started. Unknown to you, sometimes the receptionist in a building is part of your interview process. They want to see how well you treat people, not the big boss in the room. How do you treat staff at reception? How do you treat the man at the gates? How do you treat the woman walking past with a bucket? How do you treat somebody in the lift? These things are part of an interview. And I said, son, take notes. When you're looking for a job, from the very beginning, treat everybody with respect. Show them that you are a person of value, you're a team player, and that you respect them, because you don't know which one of them is there watching you and is going to report you back to the management. Because sometimes in a physical interview, what happens is that 10 of you might score the same mark and only one person can be taken for the job. So then they need to look at, well, apart from what you've said in an interview, how do you operate as a team player? You can answer the questions correctly, but how have you actually shown that team spirit while you're walking around that building? And that's what they can use to assess you. So the same thing applies when you're delivering a presentation. It's not just what's in the PowerPoint. It's not just how your royal oats look. It's how you treat people. It's how you respect their time, how you respect your time, how you respect the way you look. If you can't look good, if you can't get there on time, it's very likely that that presentation has been made up by somebody else for you, and you're not someone that can be fully trusted with their business. So let's take all these really, really, really seriously. And that's why I said people can make up their minds about you in the first few minutes of seeing you. And when I say sometimes people can be afraid of you when they see you, that fear could actually be a good fear. It could be fear of, here comes the real deal. It could be, here comes Stephen Mwale, the real deal. This is the real guy. The other people that have come before are not as serious as this guy. This guy has come on time. His presentation is set. Everything about him is in place, and people can just feel tense, and they know that this is the real deal. So your presentation before you start is super, super, super important to what you're going to deliver in your business. Now remember, emotive branding focuses on persuading your decision-making audience, and justifications and logic focus on rationale. So you want to make sure that every time you're dealing with people, you're able to put them into emotive positions. When you're delivering a presentation, as much as possible, observe people's body language and their body tensions. People you're talking to, if their hands suddenly become a fist, if they become tight, if their hands are clasped together, if they start to stare at you, these are all indications that what you are saying is penetrating those people, and that those people are feeling very, very emotively connected to you. And it's either they are beginning to show you a lot of respect or a lot of disregard. What we are in this room to do today is to make sure that those people show you a lot of respect and they buy into you and they are emotionally connected, not disconnected. Now, we never, ever, 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 when we're delivering a presentation, want people to have enough time to start processing what we're offering them in an analytical way. Because when people start to process things analytically, they start to think, well, do I want to buy from this man? I've never been to his office. Do I want to buy from this woman? I've never been to her office. You want people to be in a room with you, look at the way you dress, look at the way you smile, see the way you stand, have confidence in you, so much confidence in you and what you say that when you ask them to buy off you on the spot in that room, they bring out their credit cards and they start to pay. That's exactly what you want. Because if you give people enough time to say, well, let me research your website and let me see how long you've been in business and let me ask for referrals, you're in trouble. Because when people start to check you, they can check other people and other people and other people, and somewhere in the middle, they can just get hung on their decisions. So you want people in your presentation to get so excited that they buy from you. And that's why when you do a presentation, you always want to have your credit card machine available. And at the end of your presentation, you always want to say to people, you can buy this right now. Because if they're excited by what you've said, they're emotionally connected to what you've said, they believe what you've said, their cards are in their pocket and they say it, they can pay fully or they can pay a deposit on the spot. If you let them leave that room, they can leave the room and remember they have another gas bill, another electric bill, another mortgage payment. They've got a windscreen to repair. They have a grandma in Africa they need to send money to. And once these things cloud their minds, your product becomes number 2, then number 3, then before you know it, your product is number 10 and it's never bought. So you have to make sure that in that room, with that emotive connect, you strike while the iron is hot. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? Does it make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Good. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to use 4 steps to make sure that your story in your presentation is exciting. Exciting enough for people to say, yes, I'll pay right now. But before we say that, how many people here have these small credit card handheld pay machines like PayPal's and other little machines that you can, when people you can just put your credit card in and they can pay? How many people have those machines? Noya, you have one. Okay, I have one. Steve, you have. Okay.
I have a big terminal, bro.
Big terminal, good. As long as it's mobile. So, okay. Nina, you haven't got. You need to get these things. They're very little. All you need to do is connect them to your phones or to your iPads, and they can take payments immediately. I do it all the time. Where I go out, I take it with me, charge it up, and take payments all the time. So, ladies, I want you to try and check out these things. Some of them are on Facebook. Some of them are just £29. They don't cost much, £29, and they arrive probably within a week or 2 weeks. You connect them to your phone or to your iPad, and then anywhere you go, you can take a payment off anybody, right? If you need more information on that, I can talk to you after this session.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to address the 4 steps that are really, really critical to how we build our story. So number 1, when we are dealing with a presentation, the first thing our presentation needs to have is intrigue. Intrigue is an opportunity or something strange or something unusual that happens. This unusual story, where always automatically release molpidine. Remember I spoke about that chemical? So release it, and when it dumps it, all of a sudden, you start to feel excited. On Saturday, one told the story again. I said the same story, and I started off the story. Then I went on to, I passed out, and then they were going to become motherless. My husband was afraid. He thought it was going to become the reason why I took that way was not to build intrigue. That, oh, this Noye, what happened to her? How did that happen? How did build intrigue and it will want to know more. I want to know more about this lady. That's when you start giving that what he parasite remember you're going to hear the end. Number 3, I can mute
All right.
Okay. Number 2, limited time. Intriguing, crazy offer. Where information can make children move from primary school to grammar school, Oxford University is involved that shall becomes. And that's also he's willing to share, not just with teach or friends. The crazy ways of if you have this, you have access to this one app. Sorry.
The wrong way.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Charger in. So Shola's time frame is, well, something to do with probably 30 days or just summer, and she's given her offer at £1 to have access to this information. That's point number 2. So intrigue, fantastic story. Number 2, time frame. You've got 5 days to buy this. You've got 30 days to join this course. You've got 10 days. You've got 2 hours. You have to give people a time frame. If you don't give them a time frame, people won't act. If people know things are there forever, they tend to take a more relaxed approach, as in we can do it tomorrow, we can do it next week, we can do it later. But when you put a time frame on people, there's something in people that makes them just respond faster. It motivates them. It drives them to take action, as in, look, if we don't take action on this, we might lose this offer. So there's a 5-day offer or a 10-day offer. Therefore, we need to, as quickly as possible, take advantage of this so that we don't lose it. Point number 3, your moral authority. Your moral authority is a combination of how much experience you have in the industry, how integral you are, how straightforward you are, and how much you follow the rules. So if I was, for example, I was Oge, I would talk about my family, how I train with my family, how I train with my children in my family, that shows the world that I can keep fit and healthy right at home even with all these children. I don't have to go out to a gym. Going to the gym is great, but I can do this in the house as well. That gives me the right to say, if I can do it in my home with these 4 little children, so can you. And I'll be like, well, that's true. If you can balance a family, a husband, and these children, and you can do this, you have moral authority. If I was Noye, it would be exactly the same thing. I would say, with my oats, not only are these oats this good, but these oats are also gluten-free. And guess what? Here's the stamp. And remember, I was the one that was a dress size 20. I'm the one that's now a dress size 12. I'm the one that almost died. Remember? That was me. I'm the one that had children to lose. It gives you moral authority that you're not just talking about this, but you can prove it. When I talk about events and I say, well, we can do these things and I can coach, I can say, well, I've been running 2-3 different businesses, and I can point to that. I can say, well, that's Women for Africa. You can come there, you can see it for yourself. That's how it is. That's mine. I can go behind and say, well, before those years, I used to have the largest public sector consultancy in Croydon, Consulting for London. You can go to their website, it's there. Go to Business Link, it's there. I can prove. People can look and Google my name and say, oh, it's true. He actually has done all these businesses. Oh, he has written a book. It's moral authority. When you're speaking, you have to evidence. Do not say, I don't want to boast about myself. It's wrong. It's actually wrong. It's actually false humility. When you're dealing with moral authority, you have to prove to people that you deserve their time. It's not about you boasting. You're not boasting, my name is Shola Alabi, I have 2 settings. No, it's about your business. You have to say it. If you don't say it, why should anyone listen to you? Why should anyone pay you? You have to show people that you are worth it. Nobody wants to pay people that are just talking. Oh, my name is Noye. I have these oats. Where are they? We're still working on them. Get out of my face. You're still working on it? I don't want to hear from you. My name is Shola Alabi. I want to teach your children. Really? How many children have you taught before? I'm just thinking of starting. Really? Get out of my face. I don't want to hear from you. You need to show me proof. Show me proof. Show me. Be like Nina. Show me. Tell me your story. I want to see your proof. If you can do it for you, I want you to do it for me. If you can tell me your secrets, I will tell you my secrets. So as a business owner, you have to evidence moral authority, and you have to show your story, and you have to show that you're clean, you're integral, you're honest, and you play according to the rules. You have to. You have to. You have to. Right? Now, the 4th step, which is really interesting, is the hook. Sorry, that's the 5th step. It's the hook. The hook. The hook is when you've spoken to people, you've shared your integrity, you've offered them the prize, you've given them a time frame, you've stamped your moral authority, then you go for the hook. The hook is your story. The hook is when you say something that is so interesting that people will definitely go for it. And I've created a brief one here, and I use the example of Grace. She's not here today, but I just thought, well, this is a really good one. When Grace joined my coaching academy, she was a lonely entrepreneur. Keyword, she was lonely. She was an entrepreneur, but she was lonely. She was also a cautious and analytical entrepreneur, meaning she thought to herself, I've not been to Nigeria. I don't really know anyone in Nigeria. Therefore, when I'm marketing my products, I can only think of Europe. All she was thinking about was Europe and the US. That's it, because she didn't know anybody else that could help her in Africa. And according to her logic and her logical mind, Africa was too far-fetched and too risky. The thought of her hopping from one continent to another was far-fetched, yet alone selling on the same day. She dismissed it completely. But I can say, and people in this room have heard part of her story, of how I insisted and I twisted her arm and I influenced her and I used all my motive strategies to make sure I got her to go to Nigeria with the product. And most people in this room know now that that is her best market. Where she sold the fastest, where she sold the most, and where she's made the most money like that has been Nigeria. That's my hook. So if I was going to tell someone to join my coaching and strategy sessions, I could give them a story like that. And they'll be like, wow, my gosh, Is this real? Yes, it's real. I have it on video, I have it audio, I have it in writing. It's all over the place. And these are the same sort of things we can do with each and every person here. People going through Shola's tuition center, we need to measure the amount of people that go from your tuition center to grammar schools, from grammar schools, we've said it in private, that go to Oxford or Oxbridge or Harvard. We need to measure, because the more we can measure these people, the more we have a hooking story. Noya is one person that's enjoyed her oats. I know for a fact that with Noya, we need to think of another 3 to 4 people that are bigger than they want to be now. And with your help and your oats, they shrink. Those are compelling stories. We need to think of stores that we're going to get into and where your stuff will fly off the shelves.
Yes.
Those are compelling stories. Nina's story, when she tells her story, I need to be there. I need to be sitting right next to her with a box or 2 boxes of tissue. So anyone that starts crying, I'm going to be giving out the tissue, because that story I know is going to make many people cry. So I want to be maybe myself and Steve are giving out the tissues.
Yeah.
We are giving out the tissues. We're giving out the tissues because that is a story. That is a story right
Yeah,
here.
we love stories, guys. We love stories.
I'm telling you. So our job and our assignment here is we need to design, we need to develop, and we need to execute our presentations. Each one of us in this room has an incredible story. I've heard everybody here one-to-one, so I know it. My job is to create a framework. The framework we started last week. I've given something a bit more precise this week, and by next week it's going to be even more precise. But after next week, we're going to start developing our presentations. The PowerPoint part of it is the easy part. The part that's hard is when you want to start and say, what should I write? That's the part. How should I write it? That's what people think about. This is why I'm teaching you these things and giving you these steps. You follow these steps, you follow these guidelines, you will have the intrigue, the time, the prize, the hook. You have everything required to make sure that your story is a phenomenal one that people want to hear. You'll have the moral authority to say the story, and people will, at the end of it, be able to walk up to you with their credit cards and say, I want my children in your tuition center now. As a parent, I want to be in your parenting hub right now. I want to buy your Royal Oats right now. I want to join Oge, I want to join Steve, I want to join Nina right now. That's what we're about. We're not about tomorrow. We're going to make sure everybody that takes our time to come to these sessions is going to sell on the spot. We've got 9 minutes left. I want to tell you a story. A few years ago, when I went for my presentation from the stage training, I'm looking for the certificate. I think I put it on I'm going to send the certificate to you. I did a 3-day presentation training with a world-class trainer, Joey Martin. And when we finished, it was myself, one of my really good buddies, I'll mention her name, Dr. Yvonne Thompson, and a few other people, can't remember them. We all together decided to do a selling from the stage event. So we went to somewhere outside London and we all practiced and rehearsed our stuff. And the idea was that when we speak, we call people to action and we tell them to come running up to the front. And the first 10 people that run to the front, not only are we going to give them what we promised, but we're going to give them 2 more offers. Steve's laughing. He's heard this thing before. So the first speaker did theirs and told people to run to the front. It was really unfortunate. No one ran. The second speaker, no one ran. The third speaker, no one ran. By that time, I thought to myself, if no one's running, that's it. But I prepared my presentation. So I gave my presentation. I started off with an incredible story about my great-grandfather, because my great-grandfather was probably one of the most successful traders on the coast of Lagos. So families from Lagos Island. We don't just live in Lagos. We've been in Lagos Island for hundreds of years, where what they call the real Onwe Coast. We're from the water parts. And because he was so successful as a trader, he just kept on marrying more and more wives. So at the end of his life, he had 32 wives. But That's a story I will tell another day. But I told this story, I gave my presentation, and at the end of it, I remember I did a call to action. I said, this is what you can get. And the first 10 people that come, you're going to get this. To my shock, I saw like 3 or 4 men with beards running towards me. I was like, oh my God, what's happened? Are they coming to beat me? No, they ran into the line and they formed the line. I had 8 people in the line. It worked. It worked so much that I was shocked. I called them out, but I was surprised. I couldn't believe it. I thought, but it didn't work for the other people. It worked for me. And I was so elated. And obviously, then we didn't have these small credit card machines, but, you know, took bank details and stuff. And I sold 8 on the spot. I have to confess, I'm sorry, guys. My other presenters were jealous, but that's life, you know, but life goes on. And obviously, since then, they've done incredible things. They've been very successful. But on that day, they were jealous. But why I'm sharing this story is because me, your coach, I've done this. I had all the fears, all the apprehensions, all the doubts, all the terrors, and all the lack of self-confidence you could think of. I had it all, but I did it and it worked. So I'm sharing with you that even if you're feeling what we call FATs, and for those that have missed the FATs, it's a previous presentation which I can share. It's your fears, apprehensions, anxieties, terrors, and self-doubts. If you feel these things, if you follow the format I'm giving you here, you will overcome. Not only will you overcome, you will sell. Not only will you sell, you will sell exceedingly well. Take out a minute to think of it. Very carefully observe your environment. Even in this sector I'm in the personal development and coaching sector, there are very, very, very few Africans that are able to put together a holistic, African-centered coaching academy in the UK and get it filled with people. They're very few. They're very, very, very few. But if you believe in what you do and you take action in what you do and you're tenacious in what you do, you will have what you say. Your self-belief really matters. It emanates from you. If you are confident, people can pick up the confidence and then they'll buy into you. People buy into people that they're confident of. If you are not confident of what you're doing, no one's going to buy your stuff. So I know that I emanate confidence, and that doesn't mean I'm not scared sometimes. It means that I refuse to allow the fear to control me. I cut my weeds. I always cut my weeds, and I show up and I do what I have to do the best I can. That's what success is made of. So despite everything I've said, something that's intangible that everybody on this workshop needs to remember and act on is that you have to be self-confident. You have to be the captain of your own ship. Any other captain is a fraud. You have to ooze with super, super, super confidence. You know, I've done some presentations in the past about confidence. Maybe during the week, I'm going to send you something in just to remind yourself that what I'm saying is very, 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 very possible. And you can do it all. So guys, we've spent probably, it's 27 minutes past 10. We have about 3 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions or comments that we can discuss now? I'd like to hear from you. Anyone at all? Let me stop sharing this screen. Oh, by the way, I read this out at the beginning, but I'm going to read it again. It's think emotive. Think emotive. There is a fundamental disconnect between the way we pitch, position, or brand. This disconnect is the reason why many experiences in revenue, sales forecasts, and audience to client conversions are low. My name is Samadi Banjo, and I'm very good at making sure my events and training sessions sell out. I know many other people do this, but if you ever wanted to know some of the real secrets that I use, then you want to listen to me now. I want you to own this statement. I want you to adapt this statement for yourselves. I want you to use it in your industry. I want you to use those emotive words, fundamentals, disconnect, positioning. I want you to adapt this and use it for your industry. Please copy this, copy it and make it yours. When you give your pitch, use it. It's very, very powerful. It's very subliminal. It's very emotive. I want you connecting with your audience and winning.
Hey, Sam, because that one I have used
Okay.
something similar.
Okay.
And I've seen people are now taking up this.
Okay.
Because you know, now there is cloud computing. So
Yeah.
we want people to have more control.
Yeah.
So what I've done is, because it's very hard to explain to people about cloud computing.
Okay.
And you have your accounts and you can see them immediately. So I have no, before I saw this, I'm just saying that it works, because what I say to the people is, the example is, at the moment you're suffering because you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just accused them of that, but I knew some of them knew, but the majority didn't know. So then people are like, well, who are you to tell us that? That was a bit controversial. But I say, look, at the moment you can
Stop, Steve.
Yeah.
They said, who are you to tell us that? Moral authority.
Yeah, more authority. Yeah,
that's what they were asking you indirectly. What is your moral authority?
Yeah, what is my moral authority? Then I went to justify. I said, okay, how many people bank using their phone? Then everybody was like, yes, we do. Then I said, how many people actually know how much profit they're making using their phone? And then they started looking at each other, and they paid me the attention. Now, I've been doing this for the last 6 weeks, and I started getting some early adopters. So people want to watch what the other person is doing. So the tide is now favoring me.
Good.
So I was just saying about you have to tap into that emotion, and people just reacted to the fact that I threw out a statement, and they started questioning me. Then I had to justify, and then as soon as they felt I was justified in telling them that, the conversion started.
Fantastic.
So
money in the bank. That's what we want to hear.
Exactly.
That's what we want to hear. Fantastic. Well done, Steve. I like that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Any other comments or questions? Why is everyone quiet?
Okay, I was just gonna say, because I wanted to give people a chance, but I'm very
Steve, you know what it is? We males, we're dominating them today. That's what it is. The males are dominating them.
Dominate, man.
We're dominating them. The girls are quiet.
We'll let you dominate today.
Yeah. So,
Hey, but by the way, Steve, I have a good feeling about this Sunday, This Sunday when we play the game at Noyes Place. Oh, by the way, it's at Noyes Place, this game. But I think we're going to whoop these girls.
Don't worry.
I have a feeling we're going to have men versus women, and we're just going to whoop all of them. This is getting obvious now. I'm sure even their sons, Oge's son, Shola's, they're going to come to our side. I know.
Wow.
Let's go. Statistically, right now, statistically, I'm just watching you guys' reactions because I want to see your emotions. Statistically, someone said yes. Now I'm happy because it's working.
You're funny. We'll wait till Sunday.
Exactly.
We'll let you blow all the hot steam now, and then we'll wait till Sunday. Girls,
Okay.
Okay, Nina. No, yes.
Yes.
All right. I was gonna say this part of the course has been very interesting, because I can assure you guys, I have seen this work all the time. What Sam has just this patch where we are, how many people have attended the courses which are done in London by motivational speakers? The likes of Tony Robbins, T. Harv Eker, How many of you have attended those? Okay. When some come up, I will obviously share them. But basically, what Sam has talked about always works where even people buy. I had a friend of mine who bought a course which was worth £23,000. He remortgaged the house because he believed in what the guy showed him. And they said, look, we're going to give you the billionaire mindset. And they showed him exactly how they started poor and how they became millionaires. So they said, you will become a billionaire. But basically, when they say, how many people would love to become billionaires? Everybody sort of raises their hands. And they say, don't put your hands down. All of you people with hands up, come to the front. Because people so believe in what they're saying, it gets that emotion because they raise the energy. And that's all we do. If you're buying a car, if the salesman shows you a nice car and what it's going to do, you can even stop consulting the wife as a man. It's like, oh no, this car, I just needed it because it just come at the right time. You know, those sorts of emotions, I think this is what we're getting to. And I have tried this. It always works. If you believe in your brand and you believe in your service and you tell the person from the journey from where they're starting from and how they will have their solution right up to at the start, it teaches them to make it work.
Fantastic.
Sorry.
Okay. Steve, thanks for that. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Anyone else, or should we just sign up because it's 10:35? Any last questions?
Just wanted to know if you're gonna send us the last blue background that you put down.
I'm gonna send the whole sheet. I hope everyone got to what I sent last week.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I've not.
Yes.
Yeah, and there was some homework there, and I noticed only one person did their homework, so that person gets the prize. All the rest, no prize.
I can see the one smiling.
So the way they're laughing, we can see that.
No, it must be done yet. It must be done yet. Look.
Principal's office.
Sorry.
I didn't say hello, Shola. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Hello, Shola.
Hi, how are you? Sorry, I was a bit late. I had a bit of an eventful morning.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. Everything's recorded. Everything will be sent. So I'll send this presentation, the recording, and the paper I use. All go out to everyone sometime today. Other than that, any other questions, please just send me a WhatsApp. But more importantly, remember, we have to practice, practice, practice. And the next time we're going to meet is going to be Sunday, 3 p.m., Noyes Place. I don't want to hear stories. No, my tire was flat. I had malaria. There's no malaria in the UK. None of that. Come and we're going to whoop you while we're playing Race to Infinity, and we're going to be eating pancakes and fufu made by Noye, and we're going to hear what Shola has to say to us, and anyone else that has the guts to show up, come. We're going on Facebook Live. We're taking pictures, and we're going to share it around the whole world. I'm coming in my shorts, my t-shirt. I'm going to get a whistle as the referee. I'm taking charge on that day. I'm taking moral authority. Nobody should chicken out. I know where you live. I know your phone numbers. I know everything. So 3 p.m. Sunday, you're going to see the bullish.
I would be.
Anya, are you North London or where are you?
And not West London.
I'm going to be late. I don't
You're
know.
not west.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Steve,
Fast.
Shola is telling us she's going to be late already. So we know. Okay, it's working already. No problem. No problem.
No.
Shola, I'm joking. I'm a joker. Please, I'm a joker. I have to have fun.
Okay.
So show up, everyone.
We didn't hear from you, man.
Yeah. So everyone, take care. See you
Bye.
Sunday. No
Thank
stories,
you.
no excuses. No malaria, no flat tire. Everything is there. If you don't have a car, there's Uber. 3 o'clock Sunday, people.
Yes, sir.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, bye.